battle against a horrible cancer that he was diagnosed with in it was only a couple of weeks ago, and I'm joined by his aunt Tanika Hurford again. Hi Tanika, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm just devastated because on Friday we just heard news that Harlyn's cancer has indeed spread, and it's looking quite upsetting for everyone naturally in the family.
Yeah, so about a week or two ago, he'd finished his first round of chemo, and then Ebony got some results from a scan he had just before the beginning of his chemo, which showed that it had spread into his bones and bone marrow, which is mainly localized to the left side of his body, which is in his leg, his arm, his rib cage, and his spine. Um, so he's receiving the highest dose of chemo, and they've just returned from their second week, which he's taking it really well. It was just a big shock to all of us to find out that it had spread very rapidly. He's still on the same treatment. For the original cancer, he had to be on the highest dose. So even though because it's spread, they can't change his treatment plan because he already was on the strongest treatment plan. He also recently had COVID, so that was a bit of a pushback. He ended up in the Geelong hospital just with fevers, and Ebony just thought it was going down with something because they'd been staying at home and not really seeing anyone. But then they tested them in Geelong, and it was soon realised that they both had COVID. So that was a little bit of a pushback. But he's better, he's recovered, and he's just had his second chemo. It didn't put a weight on that. They done that. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. But what does it mean now? Obviously, this prognosis has gotten worse. What does it mean for the family?
So everything still stays the same. It's just obviously a lot harder to remain as positive as what we were. We didn't even think it would spread. Like, you don't think about that. You just think about what he's got and what he's going through. So when we got the news that it had spread, we were all devastated, and all the family were actually in Warrnambool. So Ebony was in Geelong alone to find that out. But his prognosis is the same. It's 50% cure rate because the bone cancer does have a similar rate to the neuroblastoma. It's just obviously a lot more scary because it is now elsewhere and it did spread rapidly.
Yeah, and it's a horrible question, but how's Ebony going? You know, she's up there on her own mostly. And you mentioned that a lot of the family were in Warrnambool just recently when she found out the diagnosis. Is she receiving support? Has there been some foundation support from different people to try and help this cause at all?
We've had lots and lots of support from I think it was the I forget who
That's
it
all right.
was exactly. But lots of support, especially from the Royal Children's. They give heaps to reach out from, or they reach out to you. She is doing okay. She was devastated, and it was really hard when we found out that it had spread, but we did send some family friends over to be with her while we were all in Warrnambool. She's doing as well as you can. There are her days, and no one sees her when she's by herself overnight. I dare say she would be struggling a lot, but she's doing a lot better than what I expected her to.
And at little Harlyn, I couldn't imagine what's going through his mind at the moment. It'll all be probably, you know, a little bit unsure for him as to what's happening. You know, he's only 2, so you know, how's his spirit?
He's actually fine. Not fine. He does have his days as well, but he is still crazy little boy. We were worried for when he lost his hair, how he was going to react, but he actually took it a lot better than what we did. He had one look in the mirror and his face lit up. So yeah, he is doing really well.
And I think that's the other challenge. You've got to remember he's a little boy full of energy, no doubt. No stranger to bouncing off walls
Yeah,
and being, full of energy. This would be something that, you know, he, he'd be just feeling like he's no doubt just feeling a little bit unwell. He wouldn't have any idea about the enormity of the situation.
when we do speak about it, we don't really speak about it around him anymore because he'll just sit and look and watch. And we keep saying, like, we reckon he knows what we're talking about. He's becoming so used to the hospital. The doctors come or the nurses come to the house and he plays with them now. Like, he used to be terrified, but now it's a reality and he's used to it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What's fantastic, as good as it can be. What are some things is he into? Is he into Paw Patrol? What gets his spirits up?
He loves dinosaurs,
Yeah.
is very obsessed. And then, yeah, recently loving Paw Patrol, things like that.
Cool. Well, no doubt there'll be a fair bit of that going on. But I've just
Yeah.
noticed this morning when I organised to catch up with you, the GoFundMe page is nearly at $40,000, which is just brilliant. I think when
Yeah.
we first did the interview, it was about 20. So, great to see that the community has again responded to Harlan's news and Ebony's news and is supporting the family and Ebony and Harlan, of course.
Yeah, it is good. I never thought we'd get that much, but I don't know. I feel like everyone just needs to remember that she can't work for 18 months. Like, it seems like a lot of money, but for 18 months, it's really not that much. We want her to be able to support Harlan and live her life without living guilt-free, sort of thing. Like I said, I didn't think we'd get that much, but in reality, it's not really enough.
Yeah, and no doubt every single cent, if you could donate it back to getting a better, I guess, prognosis for Harlan, I'm sure that would unfortunately money doesn't buy a cure.
Yeah.
I know we all wish that, but this certainly, I guess if there is a chance that he does get through the next few months, you're right. It's the next 18 months. It's the next 2 years. It's the ongoing costs and expenses that Ebony will need to try and get hold of. Has she been getting support from her place of work and of course, I don't know if she owns a home or if she's renting. Has she got some assistance from whoever she's involved with there?
Yeah, so her work have been amazing. They've been really good through it all. They've even just provided a little donation box for families to put either their wishes, a gift, or there's also a link there to the GoFundMe. She's living with my mum,
Yep.
which mum has been the biggest support. She's been really good. But obviously there's still everyday bills, groceries and everything that you need to pay.
And travel,
especially when,
fuel,
yeah.
And accommodation. I know that, she'll probably no doubt be being looked after at the Royal Children's, but, there will come a time when, that she's not in fact living there. She might need to live nearby. That's all going to end up costing money as well.
Yeah, so this week she's actually driving up and back every day.
Oh.
So he had his chemo last week, and this week she drives up and back every day for them to check his levels.
So Harlan's
Which,
he's travelling with her. Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
So they go up and back. They could be there for 4 hours. They could have to stay for 2 days. Like, you just don't know. But yeah, that it all adds up and it gets so expensive. But there has been a lot of people that have been really generous and donated, which has helped. But we just need to try to get through the next 18 months.
Yeah, for sure. And if someone does want to donate a toy or do something to help lift his spirits up, how can they do it? Is there a way that we can set up a donation drop-off drive or something like that? I know you're in contact with the family and I know Ebony's based in Geelong, but if there's some people tuned in that want to send something to Harlan to help lift his spirits up, a couple of dinosaurs, whatever, You know,
Yeah,
how can we do
my
that?
dad lives in Warrnambool, so he'd be more than happy to take them and pass them on. And I'm in Warrnambool quite a fair bit. We travel up and back sometimes, so we'd be more than happy if anyone wanted to do that. We can get them down to Harlyn.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we'll look into that. But thank you very much for speaking to me, Tanika. What's the immediate plan of attack now from today onwards?
So he has, I think, either a week or two break, and then he has more chemo, and we'll finish off this round, which is like 2 or 3 more. And then he needs to have a stem cell harvest, which will be quite harsh. These first 2 chemos that he had are the easiest chemos, so it gets harder from here. They ease him into it. But I think it's going to get a fair bit harder. And then once the chemo and the stem cell harvest is done, he'll have his big major surgery.
That's going to be the challenge, but our thoughts are with you and the family, and if anyone, you know, out there does want to get in contact or make a donation, you can either reach out to us here at Fitz Media, or even get in contact with the Hurford family directly. I'm sure there will be a way we can help. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so
Tanika.
much.
And I hope that we can, I guess, ease the load a little bit on Ebony and Harlyn and the family.
Thank you.